Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Asian report for the 22nd of May, and it's about time we talked about the banks as they've been moving up very strongly. So with CBA here, which takes up close to 10% of the ASX index, so it's pretty much the leading bank there, so it's worthwhile looking at this rather than the others. So I've always viewed this here as wave 3 here and wave 4 here and 1 and 2 here. Nice strong third wave up here, and then looking back at this as a fourth wave here, and as long as it doesn't overlap wave 1 here, then we can look at this as a complicated wave 4 correction. And you know, when I look at wave 2 here, the size of wave 2, then the wave 4 here is about the right size. The only thing that I thought here though is that the A wave and the B wave is fine. Coming down through this little leg through here, I thought that I had one more little move to come down into this space here. But because it's moved up so high now, or made new highs above here, then I think we also need to look at the possibility here of looking at wave 4 being in play here. And if that's the case, then we'll see 5 waves coming up towards 100 here, above wave 3 here to make wave 5, which is actually not there. So we'll better put that in there. So I mean, obviously that's nice if it happens, but what we also need to do here is work out at what point should we be getting into this. So in very simple terms, and we'll go into this in a moment, if the 80 here, the $80 becomes the support, then we'll be safe to trade long at that point. But I just want to go in and talk about from B to C here just for a moment. Weekly will be fine, I think. So this is what it could look like on the bullish side. But what I was looking at here is that you know, if I called this wave 1 down here, then this would be wave 2 here, right? Then this move back up here is pulled too high for wave 4 because it overlaps wave 1 here. So this would be down for 1 and back for 2, and then next degree smaller would be 3 waves, so 1 and 2 here, 3, 4 and 5 here. So I was looking for wave 4 to come back to, you know, wave 4 of 1 lesser degree or 38.2%. So if I take it from this top here roughly, the 38.2% is way down here, the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree is here, and we're way up here now. So it kind of breaks all that down as well. So I'm thinking that if I had to count this down, the only way I can see of doing it is having wave 1 here, wave 2 here, and wave 3 here, 4, and of course wave 5 here, and finishing like that. So that's the only way, and this fits quite nicely as well, an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here for wave 2, and then 3 and 4. That's the only way I can see it fit. But yeah, I didn't play it like that, I didn't see it like that, but if I look at it in hindsight, that's the only fit that I can see. If somebody else has got a better one, great, send it through. So the thing now is, though, you know, we need to like ask ourselves what's, you know, what this is all about here. So so yeah, we need to look at this to see if we're actually looking at 5 waves up here in this instance here. Okay, so I'll just save that. Let's go to the daily chart and just sort of drill in here and see what we've actually, you know, what we can do about this. That's not the one we wanted. We want a daily chart. So I might even just go to the 4-hour chart actually. So you know, I was looking at this as an A wave and a B wave and a C wave. I up to here, but as it's just gone too high. So we could allow it to go a little bit higher, but I think, I mean, there's things that I don't know and things that I do know, that old story. So what I do know is from this low here, we can look at this as wave 1 and wave 2 back to here, okay? And this strong move up here as wave 3, so that would still leave us, and I'm not quite sure if that's finished just yet. There may be another push there, but in one way or another, we should see a wave 4 here, and then a wave 5. So what we're going to see here is we're going to see a 5-wave structure from here to here, and then we're going to see a correction here, and well, maybe not a correction. I mean, maybe, you know, maybe that wave 4C is right and it's way up here, but if we do get support after these 5 waves here, we should get some, you know, we'll either be coming all the way down from that point, or we'll come back for a correction across here. So we can look at a classic trading levels pattern across the 80 here. So the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, then some type of simple correction here. And then if the market finds support here, then we can go long from that point. That way we'd get our timing right and would get the safer trade from that point. So so we should see, this could shoot up here further, but we should see some sort of reaction here, profit taking and so on here, and then another push up. So I just think we should just allow this to happen, and also allow this happen on this side here. And if we come up from that side, then we'll look to go long for the long term up that way, and we can look, you know, do we portfolio trades on the long side, and that means that once this starts here, then the resources possibly topped out at this stage as well at that point. So anyway, they're my thoughts on it so far. So let's just allow this to finish off here. We may get a trade in this little section here, but I'm not going to chase it at this point because it's not going to go far. It's just going to, you know, consolidate in here as wave 4, and then we'll push up. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Okay, so for the Australian market, we've been, as you know, from the low here, we've been looking at wave 1 and 2 here, and then from 2 all the way up to 3 here, and we've been looking at 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then we were looking for 5 waves in this last structure here. I had a bit of a problem in here with this wave 4 overlapping this one here, but I decided to stay with it, and we stayed with it, and it panned out okay, you know, and this was our target, the 6,500. So as far as I can see, we've done everything reasonably. You know, it's always a shaky journey, but you know, we got there in the end. So really, we should start to see some consolidation, you know, with CBA hitting 80, and it should consolidate around there. And this market should give us some type of correction across the 6,500. Sure, it could go above it higher here, but just generally speaking, we should see, you know, it's here at the moment. It could go a little bit higher here, muck around here a bit, but in a nutshell, we should see it basically have a correction back down. The wave 4 of 1 lesser degree is here. The 38.2% retracement is a little bit higher. So, I mean, at this stage, in this length of correction here, we can pretty much start looking at log scale rather than this scale in terms of pricing. But yeah, look, the 38.2% retracement level is very close here. So, I mean, as a starting point, then this is the space that we need to be looking at here roughly for a move back. Where are we? And then we'll see a push up into wave 5 here. Actually, I just thought about something else here too, which we do need to keep an eye on. I mean, sometimes things just continue to run, so it's possible that this is 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 of the next smaller degree, and then a third wave here, because that looks possible as well. So we'll have to be a little bit careful here, actually. Yeah, so okay, so let's just go to the hourly chart and look at this here. So this is what I was mapping out so far. So from this wave 4 here, which now can also be, if I just copy that and just put a wave 2 here, I'll just give that a bit more thought. That's really just to remind me here. So I could count 5 up to here, then back for 2 here, and then 1 and 2 here, and we had wave 3 as we spoke last time, and 4 here. And because of the gap here, I'm missing a little bit of data, and it's a bit tricky for me to say, because I was looking at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the third wave, and this is the fourth wave. But this fourth wave is a little bit small compared to wave 2 here, so that sort of concerns me a little bit. So it's possible that that this run here can be 1 here and 2 here and 3 here and 4 here and then 5 up here for this third wave over here to here. Not that there's going to be a big difference. If you've been trading long, you definitely need to be locking in profit here. But if this is correct here, then we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 finishing in here. So we can go, we'll go higher here. But if we were going to go long again here, well, then we need a setup to go long. So the thing would be that, let's just say that the market moves up higher here. That would give us our reference point there, all right, the first high above the level. So, and if the market came back down, so any move above the top here, we could go long again from that point, but we do need that reference point here. We need this structure from here to finish and to pull back here. And it may just pull back to this wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here, and then have another high here for the wave 5 here, just here. And we take this high here, and we could get trapped here, but it's probably a risk worth taking. But that said, if we just have a smaller position here, sort of half the risk, and we'll see how we go, and then it can come back down here. But I'm quite sure that we should see some type of correction across here. The other point that I need to make here too is that that if you make money in a trend, you normally give it back in the correction, because you've formed an attachment with it, and you think that it's going to deliver again. So you end up getting chopped up in the correction. So just be very mindful of that and be very careful. So we will take a risk on going along on the first high here, just in case this wave 2 is correct, and we can go higher. But I think that we will be settling into this space here. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at the other guy. So China here, the A50, the top 50 here. I was counting down from the top here as 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. That's all okay. And I was looking for an A and a B and a C for wave 4. That's cool. So then I was looking for wave 5 to make a new low below here, and it still may do that, but it's just not really working very well here, because I can see here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here to this point. I'll just get rid of this little line in here. So I can see that we've got 5 waves from here to here, and then we've got a correction in here, and then we've got this other little move down here, which will just be one sequence here. So really I've just got 3 waves here. So I've got 3 waves here, and we've got 3 up here. So it looks like we're in some sort of triangle pattern here for this wave 4 here. So I may have to put this as D here and E here as well. So let me just do this. So there's something a little bit more complicated occurring here. I'm not going to worry about it too much at this stage. I know most people don't trade it. We just like to keep an eye on it. And like, we're not going to turn long on this unless we get 13,000 as a nice tested support. So that's one thing here. The other thing here is that the move down through here came roughly down to the 62% mark, but lower. And then the move back up here came into the 50-60% move. And this one here came into this one down here came into its box here as well. So if this box here became the retested resistance, then we'd be going lower from that point. Okay, then wave 5 would start at that point. So, and then in that case, then this wave E here would be correct. So if you are trading this or viewing this, if that box there becomes the resistance, if those lows become the retested resistance here, that means that they normally come through, come back up and test it and then fail. If that's the case, then we can look at this as down for 1, back for 2, down for 3, 4 and 5, and we can have our 5th wave down here at that point. But this one doesn't count as 5 waves here at this stage. Okay, Hong Kong. This is a monthly chart for Hong Kong here. And I just want to go over a couple of scenarios here. So the move down through here is in 3 waves. So that was the GFC here. So it's down in 3 waves. So technically, because it's in 3 waves, we could continue in a trend all the way up to the upside. But it doesn't appear that we've got 5 waves in here, in this section here. I mean, it's pretty rough. It could be something like up for 1 here, an A and a B and a C for wave 2 here, then up for 1, back for 2, up for 1 here and back for 2, and then build up higher from here. But if this little area here, this move down through here is cool, this move up here came to the 61.8% mark here, and then it's dropped sharply. This little box here is this 50-60% retracement level. If that becomes the resistance, then we're going to be looking to the downside here. And then we'll be looking at this as wave 1 and 2 and 3 here and 4 here and 5 here for a much larger correction. So an A wave here, a B wave all the way up here, and then 5 waves down here for wave C for this to finish over here. I don't know if that's the case, but I think it's just worthwhile talking about this a little bit. And it still has a bullish connotation to this particular pattern, but it needs to stay above this from this high, this low here to this high, 61.8% back here. So it really needs to stay above that 26,500. So that's something that we're going to keep an eye on. Okay. On the hourly chart here, just drilling into this little area here, I just thought I'd take a look at that point there, and so here I can view all of this down here as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave in blue here, and there's your 26,500 here. Okay, so it can be a wave C, and that way we're counting down as 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. That all fits nicely. This looks like a wave 4, and then we're looking down for wave 5. Now here I don't have a nice, like China, I don't have that nice 5 waves. I can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. And then we've got this small move here and this move back up. So this can be wave 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for the 3rd and the 4th, 5th. So yeah, you could also short this here as well. Probably under that low there would do the trick. So I'll just leave that at that. So I do see further downside here, but I don't know if it's wave 3 for a bigger bearish move down like I just explained, or wave C, and we're going to be stopping at this 2650 area or somewhere in this space here. Even though this hasn't finished very well here, if the 28 becomes support here, well then we'll be long from that point. Anyway, that sort of helps divide up the Elliott structure. and India. So let me just go back to the daily chart. This has been a strange market. A bit difficult to get my head around it. So we've always had the wave 3 here with an A wave and a B wave and a C wave here for wave 4. Our problem has always been all of this in here. It could be, it was, all of this is really quite corrective, but bullish corrective here, because, when if a market moves up and then comes back down, has a correction sideways like that, that's bullish corrective. When it finishes, it will be to the upside, and that's the same to the downside. If the market was coming down and it goes sideways like that, or then when it's finished, it's going to move down. They're just continuation patterns. But it's not the kind of correction that you would normally see in wave 1s to 2s, so that was always a little bit alarming for me. Yes, we've always sort of stayed to this, and we've kept this as wave 1, an A and a B and a C for 2. It's another thing here, an expanded flat correction in a wave 2, which is not in the Elliott book, but I see it in FX a lot. And then we've got this particular move here. So we've had it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and looking for wave 5 to move to the upside here. So that's pretty much on track. There's probably a little bit more to go in here, so we can have a look at that now. But also too, we're taking out this top here as well. This market's had a bit of a series of this B wave coming to the top. This is another expanded flat correction coming in here as well. So let's go back to the hourly chart here for a moment. So we've been short coming all the way down here, as you know, and we're looking for, and I had this, I didn't have this labeled as wave 1 and 2, I don't think, at this point, but what I did have is I had the bringing the stop down to this point here now, where we've been stopped out, but we also went long here as well. We didn't really get an opportunity to go long again on the 11,500. So anyway, this can be brought up here. This move down through here looks like it's in 5 waves. So I was looking here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for wave 1 and wave 2 in here. And wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for the third wave. So I was looking at this being the 4th wave here, and then the 5th wave up here. But the problem with that is that this little move down here appears to be in 5 waves here. So if I just move those out of the way here, we can put wave 4 here, but I think it's going to be with 5 waves down here. We're going to see some sort of rally back to the 50-60% mark here, and then another move down here for wave 4 before we see a move up into this space here. Not quite right here. This should be a 3rd wave in here. I mean, it is a 3rd wave, but 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I'll have to have a look at this on the tick chart here. But the main other point here too is that this market is not finished yet. We'll be moving further to the upside here. All we're seeing is a correction across this level here, the 11,800 at this stage. So we still don't have this 5th wave in place here. And we could possibly put, if I go back and check, it's possible to have this 3rd wave here as well. So if we just take the broad sweeping view here of taking wave 2 low here and wave 3 low here, the 38.2% retracement level is lower here. So it's either this wave 4 here or this wave 4 here, and we can look at this being, oops, from here to here, we can look at this coming down further from this point before we see a move to, it may not come all the way back down, but that's something that you'd need to prepare for. So I think if you've got money in this at the moment, I mean, for me, naturally, I'll just put this over here, you should take part profit here, being the old highs here. That should be your, you should, if you're coming back up to the old highs, you should take profit. But I see it as 11,800. The 800, number 8, is always a profit-taking number. The bids will always be, sellers will always move in at that number. So that's that. So it's just natural for me, and anybody that's been hanging around me long enough would see number 8 as a profit-taking number here, and that's what you should do. But that said, this market still got moved to the upside, and this will just be a corrective pattern here at this stage. So I'll just leave it at that for the time being. Thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. Cheers.